everyone. Happy Monday, you guys. This is another episode of the Common Sense Show TV live on the Young Black Panther Network here on Facebook. I think I am streaming across Facebook, Periscope, my personal Facebook page, and YouTube. So I want you guys to buckle up because this is going to be just an extension of what I talked about in my very first episode. So if you guys missed the first episode of the Common Sense Show here on the Young Black Panthers Network, you missed a treat. Because what I tried to do, or what I'm trying to do with this, is to tell a little bit of my story. So that way, when people see me, they know exactly what I am talking about. It's like, oh, I can relate to what this little man, this young man is saying. And that's the whole point of doing it. So before I get any further in here, what I want you guys to do for me, that if you're watching this on any platform, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, all that, do me a favor, go ahead and smash that like button for me right there. That gives me a little bit of indication that you guys are enjoying what I'm saying to you. So make sure that you do that for me. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right, so I'm gonna get started here. I'm gonna put a little new music on right quick. Because for those of you guys that may or may not know me, I'm a huge Common fan. So if you guys can hear that, let me know. I'm gonna go back to my comments here, see if somebody pops in. All right. So the title of this particular episode is "What Was I Thinking?" What was I thinking? Now, if you guys go back, I'm a man, and as men, we make all kinds of crazy decisions coming up because we feel like we can either do those on purpose or we can hurt who we want to hurt and keep it moving. And what I found out in this life that you just can't do that. You just can't make those mistakes. You just can't move. You just can't hurt people and continue to go on. Now, uh, in my first episode, I was talking about my life at. I started at age 16, so that's when life went a little crazy for me, and I found out that the man that raised me was not my father, and how hard for me that was, because I felt betrayed. I felt like, um, why would you do that? Why would you lie to me? It's something easy to tell me, but my mother refused, and even in her passing, still didn't tell me who my real father was. So it was hard for me. So I went through my life, and I continued to hurt people, and a lot of women paid for the sins of my father, my bio father, because he just wasn't there. So everyone paid for that. I was mad at my mom, so everyone paid for that too. And I just can't. To this day, it took me about 15 years to finally figure it all out, right? But when I was going through, I made a lot of dumb mistakes. Let me give you guys a couple of these points, right? So before we get into that, let's do this right quick. Hold on one second for me. So the first mistake that I made was when I was 19 years old. The first that was one of the big doozies, right, in my life. And at 19 years old, I decided I'm gonna get married. Who wants to get married at 19? Me. As I got married at 19, and this is what this is how that whole thing transpired. If you didn't catch the first episode, you'll catch it in this one. The the circumstances behind the very first marriage was I met a young lady who who had just got stood up at the altar the weekend before I met her. So my cousin hooked me up with her, and I was like, yeah, 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 she's cute. Let's go ahead and do that, right? But I didn't know that she was already, stood up. She's already broke. She's already hurt. Whatever, whatever. And so I said, you know what? She brung it up, and I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and get married. So I got married in 19. So my question to you guys that are watching is, what was I thinking? What was I thinking at 19? I should have been enjoying my life and ruining my credit and all that good stuff. I didn't. I was married at 19 the very first time. Now, you guys that don't know may or may not know, I have I am 44 years old. So be it that I'm in my third marriage now, but my first question was like, why did I do that? Why did I get married at 19 years old? I had no intention. I had no um I just wasn't gonna. I suppose not supposed to get married. So got married at 19 years old was the first mistake that I made. And well, maybe I shouldn't say mistake. Maybe I shouldn't say mistake. Maybe I should say um, a bad coincidence. Maybe I should say that. But that's what it was. It was a bad coincidence. But I had a beautiful daughter who's my youngest. No, yeah, actually, my youngest girl was born inside of that. Hey, Courtney, I was not thinking. You're absolutely right. I wasn't. Um, he's so stupid. I love you though. But yeah, I wasn't thinking at 19 years old, and we lived this facade and this whole janky thought thought of being a young married couple. We was gonna It was us against the world, and we was just gonna do whatever. And it just did not work out. It just did not work out. It was the worst thing that could probably ever happen. It the uh no life lessons, not mistakes. You know what? You're absolutely right. It was actually, hey Lise, what's going on? No life lesson. It was a life lesson, and it taught me that I had to be more wary of of my choices in my life, even though I still didn't learn it until later on in life. We'll get to that. So that was the first life lesson. I thank you, Courtney, for that. The first life lesson. I was like, okay, I'm just going to, I married this woman at 19 and had no idea what I was doing. Had a baby. We were broke. We was, water got cut off. Rent wasn't paid. Yeah, it was crazy. It was just crazy. So my question again is, what was I thinking? If you think about your life and what you've been through and what you've done, there are plenty of things that you probably can say right now and think back on it and say, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? After that, the life was kind of, it was boring. We cheated on each other, and it was just bad. There was one instance where I made a mistake and I cheated on her with another married woman, and that wasn't smart. That was definitely one of those things to make you go, "What in the absolute world, boy? What are you thinking?" And that was um, the mistakes and the life choices that I made. I was just sleeping with women. It didn't matter to me whether they were married, taken, spoken for. It didn't matter because I felt like I was the bee's knees. I could have who I want when I wanted them, and it was just a complete falsehood. And that is the reason why I have the passion that I do for men, because we've all made those mistakes and we've all looked back and we've all said, how did I get myself here? How did I get myself here? I don't know how I got here. And it was just one of those weird things that happen, you know? And I'm going, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. So if you guys, I'm gonna take a pause right here. If you are new to the Young Black Panther Network, listen, I got a great show that's coming that's already on the network. I want you guys to check her out. So bear with me just a moment, all right?
I stay cooler than the Chi-Town breeze, but hyper like I'm at the World Cup overseas. Do rag for waves with me, gotta stay fresh. I never leave home without it like American Express. I'm feeling kinda old school, how about you? If you're feeling how I'm feeling, this is what you do. Throw it up, 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 throw it up. Hey, yeah.
All right, and we are back. Listen, that was for that's the commercial for my girl Lise, who has Millennials podcast on the Young Black Panthers Network. So if you watch this particular channel, make sure you check her out. She is absolutely awesome and funny all at the same time. So it's kind of hard to find those when you're awesome and funny. Also, Courtney says, also us folks look that lead with emotion. We do spontaneous things sometimes. You know what, Courtney? That is a great thought. And if there's anyone in this whole broadcast in my life that knows me, is Courtney Fuel, because Courtney Fuel has been a part of my life for 24 years. Melissa knows a little something about that, or pride, exactly right. And I was definitely, I don't think for me though, it was necessarily pride. It was the fact that I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I was so led by the emotion of my mother being mad at my mom. That's where it started. And then losing my mom and not knowing who my dad was. So I was completely led by emotion and wondering to myself, going, half 80% of the stuff that I went through in my life, I went through it because I was emotional. I didn't get prideful until I got older, and I went through a couple of stupid life lessons without being caught, and that's when the pride came. But the beginning of it was, let me. I'm just going to lead with my emotions, and most men don't do that. Most men lead because, well, maybe they do, maybe they do. Um, but at first for me, it wasn't. It was very emotional. Pride came later. And so after that whole thing with my first wife, I mean, it was. I can tell you guys stories. I can sit here and tell you guys stories all day, and you'll be like, "For real, just calm down, Terry. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" We did some crazy stuff together. She did some crazy stuff apart from me. She cheated. I caught her cheating with multiple partners at the same time, but still caught her cheating, and I'm still here to tell the story. It's absolutely crazy to me. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And I can look back on it now, 10, 11 years later, or 15 years later, how long ago it was, and say, I forgive her. I know it sounds retarded, but I forgive her, right? But it still begs the question, what was I thinking? So after that whole debacle, I actually left her and I ended up with an older woman. And now we're not talking 6 months, a year, five, whatever. We're talking 20 plus years my senior. Yeah, 20 some years my senior. And people gave me the look like, dude, is that your mother? It's crazy now. And this is where I met Courtney uh, down the road. But I got with this lady, and in my book that I'm writing, the Knucklehead Chronicles, um, I give her a different name, and it's Minnie Pearl. But that's beside the point. And she was older, much much older than I. And at first, she was just this. To me, I didn't know how old she was. Let me tell you, this is what happened. We got together. I didn't know how old she was. I was 20 something, and she was up in her age. But I'm thinking she's like 35. We never discussed it, And I was like, okay, I'm cool with the older woman. Doesn't really bother me, what have you. And so, um, her birthday came around. We dated for like a year, and then her birthday came around the next year. So when her birthday came around, I got her a birthday cake with 36 candles on this cake. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, it's 36. Give her, I got her a purse. I got her a cake. I took care of her real good. No, I didn't. And so when her birthday came around, she says, well, I have something to tell you. I'm not 36. And when she told me how old she was, I almost lost my lunch. I mean, she told me she was 49 at the time that I was dating her. And I mind you, I'm 22 at this point or something like that. And she's 49 years old. So I'm flabbergasted at the birthday party. And I'm like, okay. So mentally, I should have been, okay, I'm out of here. I'm going. I can't. You're older at this point. She's older than my mother at this point. And I was like, you know what? I can't. Yeah, let me go ahead. But still reveling in the emotion of still being mad, kind of sort of at my mother. I said, you know what? I'm going to stay. And so we stayed together for another 4 or 5 years after that. But I can tell you that I took her through all kinds of heck because now I resent you. So we talking about emotion earlier. It was the emotion was mad at my mom, and it transferred over to her because now you lied to me too. So now I resent you for lying to me for an entire year. So I stepped out and started doing my thing and cheating, and I had to find me a young tender. You feel what I'm saying to you? I had to find me a young tender, and so I kept going and kept going and kept going. I met Courtney. I met a whole bunch of people after her, while I was with her, and it was just, it was compounded mess after compounded mess, And it just continued to happen. I was still sleeping with my first wife, still sneaking and going to see her. I was doing all kinds of stuff. So my question, what was I thinking? You ever been there? Have you ever been there? And so if you're watching this, make sure you smash the like, comment on with me. I like to talk to other people. This is a virtual show. It's not just me talking the whole time. At least I don't want to, but I will if I have to. You know what I'm saying? But what kind of situations in your life have you been through that made you say, "What were you thinking?" Some of us are still dealing, are still reeling from those old emotions, those old situations, those old decisions that you made in your life. That's the purpose of the Knucklehead Chronicles. That's the reason why we're here. It's because we want to keep you from making the same mistakes that I did or the ones you've already done again. Because we want to get to a better place in life to where we can say, okay, I've done my work. Now I'm going to forgive. Hey, Mari, what's going on? Mari said, baby daddy, baby, listen. And it takes my baby mama will tell you, I was the worst baby daddy ever. And I know yours is right around the corner, but we, boy, and I was still sneaking back and kind of what they call it. What's the term? Is it slipping and dipping? Is that what they call it? Slipping and dipping. What's up, Devontae? I was Rolling Stones as I was, and my papa was a Rolling Stone. Your papa was a Rolling Stone. Everybody, and it's just you get to a point that you have to forgive. But like I said, even in that, since saying that now, 20 years after my process or 15 years after my process, it's easy for me to say. But someone who is sitting in it now going, okay, well, right now I feel this way. They got people change. I know that's right. And so with the older woman, it just got crazy. Tipping and dipping. That's it. I knew it was something. Slipping and dipping. I knew it rhymed somehow. Because my main man, Andrew C. Caldwell, always they tell him that he's tipping and dipping. But nonetheless, and shit, there was no part of that relationship that was healthy at all. Um, and I went through 5 or 6 years of complete torment and torture because I didn't want to say I was wrong. A lot of people deal with that. They rolling with that right now. They're like, you know what? I don't want you to know that I was wrong. You know that I was wrong, but I ain't finna get ready to admit that I was wrong. I'm not gonna admit that because then, like Melissa said earlier, it becomes a pride thing because we could be rolling this stuff and people will tell us all the time, you know what, you straight wrong for that. You should not be doing that. And we can be rolling in that. And people will tell us that we're wrong, and we will go to hell and high water and be like, I ain't admitting nothing. And that's bad. So here's what I'm gonna tell you guys that are watching. Don't uh don't prolong your suffering longer because you don't want to admit the fact that you were wrong, or you don't want to admit the fact that you want to say sorry but don't know how. Here's how you say I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just like that. Yeah. He said, I'm already just like that. I was thinking myself to not say I was wrong. Exactly. And see, here's the thing, Mari, is that a lot of women, some women, I'm not gonna say all, but some women have that thing of, you know, I ain't wrong. I ain't never gonna be wrong. I'm always gonna be right, no matter what. I'm always gonna be right. And the truth is, we wrong in two left shoes half the time, anyways. Melissa said she slept in her car for 6 months before I left my father. Let my father prove me wrong, and that 6 months was prolonged suffering because I don't want nobody to say, you know what, we don't never want to hear we don't never want to hear I told you so. We don't never want to hear I told you so. I told you he was a dirt bag. I told you she wasn't right for you. I told you that she wasn't going to be anything for you. I told you he was going to cheat on you. I told you. And because we don't want to hear I told you so, we will ride out 10 years or so, or however long, of absolute garbage, trash, and nonsense because we don't want to hear I told you so. Some of us that's watching this need to put on our big girl, big boy panties and drawers and be like, you know what? Just let me hear it. Give it to me. I'm wrong. I stayed with that woman for 5 years, hurt every day. Let me give you guys a story, and those of you guys that know me know this story. I'm gonna tell it again because there's some people who watch it that don't know. Is we went down to her daughter's house once for a visit. What you so told me, I showed that I told you, but yeah, and you didn't want to hear it when I told you that too. But there's a story where we went down to her daughter's house and we got into a verbal sparring down there for some reason. I can't remember what it was. And her daughter said, "Mom, you shouldn't be so harsh. That's your man. That's the man you share your life with." Da da da. Trying to speak a little bit of common sense to her, common sense. And she was like, "Yeah, whatever. He ain't no man. Who is he?" At that point, I should have left, right? But nah, because again, not wanting to hear someone else say, "I told you so." I stayed another 2 years after that. Now, mind you, I was still doing my thing. I was still cheating. Trust. I was still getting me on the other side of the fence, but I wasn't going to tell her that. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let you ride out. That's cool. Ride that out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Amen. Yeah, all that. But she was treating me like trash, but I was treating her like even more trash behind the scenes, which begs the question at the end of it, going, what was I thinking? Just what was I thinking? And it got worse. It just got worse. It got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I finally ended up leaving eventually. Um, and then I met my second wife, but that's besides the point. The question of it all is that I did not, it is a thing in life where people say, I think it was NDRE or somebody. They had a song "Bag Lady." I was that bag dude. I went from it being emotional and mad at my mama, getting married the first time, and going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and never really fully being healed. That is the problem that we have as a people. We don't want to get healed. We want to stay in this place of normalcy because for some of us, pain is normal. Pain is normal because if I wake up in the morning and if I don't feel no pain, something's wrong. That's where we are, some of us. But I can promise you that if you're watching this right here, if you're listening to me right now, there is a joy on the other side of that pain that you have to work to get there. But there is a joy on the other side of that pain that will change your life, right? I went through 15 years of absolute nonsense until I found someone. Well, there's a few people in my life that along that path who ushered me along the way, right? There's a few people, and Courtney Field one of them, Melissa's another, and they ushered me along the way. Courtney early on in my life, Melissa most recently, and it was, and they took me with all of my flaws. Okay, they took me in all of my flaws. Now another story where I was with the older lady and I cheated on her. I cheated on her with a young lady in South Carolina. Let me tell you this story. This is gonna blow your mind, but this is a true R. Kelly, excuse me, trapped in the closet type of situation. So I go down and we go because I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't know if you guys know that, but I dated a girl who lived in Rock Hill, which was about 20 minutes maybe. And I go down one Friday night, and by the time I get there, we go out to dinner or what have you. Now her baby daddy has already gotten wind that I was with her, right? Not sure how. Somebody saw us together and decided to tell him that we were together. Like, I didn't think anything else of it. I was like, okay, that's roll, right? So I didn't know that he knew that we were together. Somebody called her and told her that, yo, your baby daddy know that you're down here with this dude. But she didn't bother to tell me. So that night, we Netflix and chill. I mean, and not to we do graphic here. We Netflix and chill, and we go to bed. Right, we go to bed, and at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, maybe you get up. We hear a knock at the door. We say, oh hell, yeah. We get a knock at the door, and she knows it's him. I'm like, who is that? But I I wasn't thinking properly, right? So I'm dying there, and I'm laying in bed. I'm like, somebody at your door. No, actually, he knocked on the window. Is what it was, and he knocked on the door. Now her back door had a deadbolt on the back door, right? So he couldn't get in the back door. So what he did was he came around the front of her apartment that did not have a deadbolt. He took his credit card or debit card or whatever he did, and he slid the card in, opened the door. Now she's running through the house like a chicken with a head cut off because she's scared of him. Now she ain't told me nothing. So I'm still laying in the bed. Now when he comes through the front door, I kind of jump up like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Right? And so I jump up, I jump in the closet, right? I jump right in the closet. And so he comes in the house and he's like, yo, what's going on here? Da, 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 da. Where's my daughter? She had a little girl. Where's my daughter? I want my daughter. And she's like, well, she's sleeping. She's sleeping. Okay, I want to pick her up. Dude, it's 4 in the morning. What do you want? You know what I'm saying? And so he knew that I was there, but that was his excuse for coming. So he's like, where's she at? And she was in the bed, of course. But he was like, well, get her jacket. We need to go. Get her jacket. We got to go. So get her jacket. We got to go. Now, where was her jacket? What do you think her jacket was? Behind me in the closet. So I'm sitting there the whole time going, what in the world was I thinking in this closet, first of all? But she only had a little two-bedroom apartment. So he comes right to the closet door, just like R. Kelly was in the video. He's sitting. I didn't have a gun though. It was I'm sitting there I'm sitting there in my drawers, literally shaking in those jokers, right? And so he opens the door. He's like, he said to me, "Come on out, man. Come on out." He was crazy. Come on out. And so I came out, and I'm talking to this dude in my drawers on the end of the bed, and he says, "Did I deny him the check?" No, I should have gave it to him through the closet door, like, here, take that. But no, and so he sits me down on the end of the bed. He says to me, and he had a civil conversation. He was pissed, but he was more so pissed off at her than it was at me, because he's like, we do, we know what it is. And so he sat on the end of the bed and he said, listen, man, I could have came in here and killed you, right? And I was like, yeah, you know, yeah, uh-huh. And he was like, the best thing for you to do is to leave her alone. Don't come back down here and, just leave her alone. Don't, you know, pack up your clothes, put on your clothes, and I need for you to go ahead and leave, and then don't come back. I was like, you gotta tell me twice, all right? So I jumped in my jeans, I threw on my shirt, I cussed her out and said, "Let's go, like right now." And um, he ended up. They called the cops. I mean, she called the cops because he trespassed, and the cops came in. They didn't do anything to him, of course. They made him leave. Eventually, he left on his own, and then she took me back to Charlotte. But that wasn't the dumb thing. I tell you the dumb thing here in a minute. Stay tuned, record.
Do you love eggs at 11 a.m., but you don't have nobody to take you to brunch? Well, guess what? I got news for you. Let's day drink and have bad table manners and wake up late, all while you watch Leaf and E-Bigger Cut It Up each week, talking about hot, popular, trending topics you can watch on Facebook, on Charm City Direct TV, or the Young Black Panthers Network. It is premiering August 2nd at 11 a.m.
All right, and so Got to pay the bills, man. 30 minutes in, got to pay the bills. All right. So the dumb thing that I did was that even though he gave me the clear warning, he says, just leave her alone. Don't come back. I ended up leaving the older lady for this other young lady. I'll wait. I know you guys are laughing your ass off right now. I'll wait. I left the older woman. I called myself leaving the older woman for this other young lady. And after the warning, after he done told me, get going, don't come back, I go down there and move. I know. I know you're asking yourself, what were you thinking? what was wrong with you? Did you have a death wish? What's going on here? And so I got down there, I moved in, and we lived a whole we had lived a good family life for about a week. That's how long I stayed gone, for about a week. Because what I found out was, even though she told me that she was being faithful to me, she wasn't. She was still sleeping with him, and that's the reason why he was still set tripping, because she was still giving him the nookie. It was, yeah, she was still giving him the nookie. So I was like, wait, but this man already done warned me. You begged me to move down here, and because again, rolling in emotion, because I wanted to be away from the older lady, I went down there and just said, you know what? At this point, my life didn't matter. I just wanted to be away from her, and I went on down there and just it didn't take heed of nothing. And yeah, yeah. So, and this is how I found out that she was sleeping with him still. When I left, because I worked at Lance, the stat company. So if you guys know anything about Charlotte, I know Courtney does, but Lance is on the other side of Charlotte. And I went to work. I worked third shift. I went to work. I came home that next morning, and I had all of my, because I used to be a hat guy, so I had a bunch of hats lined up on on the dresser. And I came back, and three of my hats were missing. And I asked her, I said, "Where are my hats at?" She said, "Oh, they're in the closet." So I didn't think anything else of it. I took her word for it. And so I think a couple days later, we went to the mall or something. We saw him. This dude had on my hat. He had on my hat, my favorite Florida State hat. I was like, "Yo, like, why would you? What's going on? What are you thinking? I don't get it." So at that point, I was like, "You know what? I'm done. I'm out of here," and I left. I, I left. You know, and I had to eat that. I had to take a L. I had to eat that loss because I was being stupid and emotional and not really taking heed of the life lessons here. Because this man could have killed me, and if he was packing any kind of heat, if he was doing anything, he could have killed me. Hey y'all, throughout all this mess, Terry will keep a job, and I will keep a job now. But it was just retarded. I should have been dead. If I'd have been dead, I wouldn't have had a job. But and I still didn't catch the lesson. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to the old lady. I begged her back. I begged her and said, you know, take me back. I promise I won't do it wrong again. Da, 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 da. Because, and this is the lesson that we all should learn as men. And sometimes, ladies, that men aren't looking for love; they're looking for help. And I was that guy. I wasn't really looking for anything in particular. I didn't love her. I'm gonna be real. I didn't love her. There was nothing about what I went through with her that signified love. I despised her actually, but because I didn't want to be homeless too much, I faked it. Now, one thing about men and women, for that matter, is that you only can fake it in this life for so long. And so I faked it. It didn't bode well. I she saw through, and I was still cheating. I was still doing my thing, and I just was just stupid as a young man, just retarded. Like, why? What was I thinking? So after going through all of that, thank God for my life, because please believe that I was in somebody's church that next weekend going, thank you Lord for my job, my life. He could have took me out of here, and because we're just stupid. And I went through my life. I went through some situations. What's up, Ramon? I see you, brother. And it was just stupid. I'm sure that everyone in here is watching can relate to doing some of the dumbest stuff, because we don't want to hear "I told you so," or we don't want to hear, you know, I'm that you made a mistake. You don't want to hear any of that, because one thing we don't want to, as a human being, is that we don't want nobody to tell us about ourselves. And I'm going to tell you who read me the Riot Act, and Melissa, I hope that you thanked her, because Courtney read me the entire Riot Act from A to Z before I left to come out here to Idaho. And, I did a lot of work. And sometimes it takes that one person in your life that can say something that can change your entire life. But sometimes we as humans, because who we are, we can't receive from other people because we're either selfish, because we're either prideful about something. But sometimes we need to open our ears and be able to hear from somebody else, because everybody ain't out to get you. This is for everybody in here. Everybody's not out to get you. Somebody has good intentions for you. Somebody has um, your best uh, thoughts in their thoughts. They want you to be whole too. There are people out there. Everybody ain't evil. Everybody not trying to get you. And even throughout my life, 44 years going strong, um, I made a lot of mistakes looking back on it, going, yeah, like what was I? I don't know. A lot of situations that happened in my life, I can tell you guys from experience that I should not be here. I should not be here at all. I should be buried somewhere beside my mother. I'm gonna be real with you. But because God showed grace for me, I'm still here. So now I let my past shape my present and my future. My past is nothing to be ashamed of. Anybody who's watching this, you have a past. So what? You done a lot of stupid stuff. So what? You hurt people. So what? Hey, Misty. So what? You have been whatever you're going through in your life. Whatever you guys know that the grace. Thank you, Misty. The grace has kept you this far. Some of us are still walking the planet because of grace. Some of us are still in our right minds because of grace. Thank you, Mister, for sharing. I appreciate you. If you guys haven't shared the video yet, please go ahead and share it. Some of us are still in that mode, and God has still has you covered, and you're still doing what you want to do. We all have a testimony, exactly right. But I can tell you, and Ramon will tell you, and any other pastor will tell you, if you are walking in grace, and if you have not gotten yourself in position yet, the jig is almost up. And if you need to get into a position of surrender. That's what I had to do. In order for God to bless me with the wife that I have, like I said that now, with confidence, the wife that I have, God gave her to me. That was his gift for me. because of my sacrifice. We are going to have to sacrifice. I had to sacrifice in my life through all the dumb stuff, through all the emotion, being mad at my mama, being mad at my daddy, and being mad at everybody else in this life. I had to finally come to the realization that, hey, wait a minute. It ain't just me. It ain't just me. Some of this stuff is self-inflicted. And we walk through self-infliction and we try to blame other people. No, that's your fault. I was in that woman's closet because I was selfish. Not because I felt like she lied to me. At the time I went through it, I blamed her. No, because I was selfish and I wanted what I wanted. See, some of us have to look in the mirror and give a long, hard look at ourselves and go, you know what? I should have did better in this situation. I should have uh, made a better decision here. This is the reason why the Common Sense Show is here. We want to give you common sense. We want to help you. How much? How much of this? And everybody, because I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna switch gears here real quick if I can. Well, I can't because my show. But real quick, somebody is watching this right now live, whether it be on YouTube, Periscope, or Facebook. Somebody's watching this right now in pain. Somebody is hurting because of a life lesson that you have not caught yet. Let me be the guy to tell you on this show right now live on the Young Black Panther Network with all of my folks in here that you have gone through it, but watch God bring you out. But this is what you got to do. Like I always say at the end of all my shows, forgive yourself, forgive them, and move on. Forgiveness is the hardest thing to do for some folks. It's hard for people to say, "I forgive you" and mean it. People will sometimes give you what they call lip service, and they'll say, "I forgive you. It's all right. Whatever. It's fine." But truth be told, that thing's still eating them up like battery acid. You feel what I'm saying to you? That whatever situation it was, it's still eating them up like battery acid. It's still eating you up like battery acid. You haven't forgiven your girlfriend sleeping with your best friend. You haven't forgiven your girlfriend for sleeping with your man. You haven't forgiven your father yet. You haven't forgiven that uncle. You haven't forgiven those people in your life that done you dirty, that put salt on your name, that said that person, Courtney, Misty, Ramon, Melissa, all they they will never nothing. Those people that put salt and dirt and mud on your name, you have to forgive them as hard as it may be. But look, I can guarantee you the peace on the other side of forgiveness is something wonderful. The peace on the other side of forgiving your baby daddy, Mari, that that was gonna. I'm telling you, when you forgive them, when you forgive them, God is going to set your life ablaze. I'm sorry, it's two words, but it's also an emotion. Forgive those people. That's the hardest thing, and that's one of the things that I preach the heaviest, because it took me a while to forgive people. Even though my mother was dead and gone, I did not forgive her in my heart until 5 years after she was gone. Don't let 5 years pass you by and you haven't forgiven those people yet. Your peace is on the other side. See, this is what I tell people all the time. I said this in the Periscope a few months back, and I said your peace and your joy, your desire, your goals, your joy is on the other side of what you don't want to do. And some of us, we don't want to forgive people. We don't want to say, "I forgive you, sister, brother." There are people that don't want to do it. I don't want to forgive you. I'm mad at you. You cheated on me. You hurt me. You cost me my life. I can't forgive you. You're going to have to. Because when you do, God's going to open that door up. And he's going to give, because if he can't trust you with the small things, he is not going to give you anything big. I can promise. Take it from me. That's why I tell my story, because I want people to understand that I wasn't always this gracious dude, this handsome young man in front of you. I was run down, raggedy, looking crazy. Life had took its toll. Millennials, hey, Lee, you forgive yourself for not for the other person. Exactly. Forgive for yourself. Don't forgive it. Forget them. This ain't about them. This is about your peace. This is about your peace. Your peace is on the other side of what you don't want to do. I don't want to forgive her. You know how long I walked that thing out? You know how long I said, man, please. What she did to me? She left me. Mad. You left me. But then, after a while, you get ready to do your work and you're going to thinking to yourself, going, why she leave? Because I was a hoe and I was a liar. What was I thinking? Back to the title of the show. What was I thinking? What was going on? What was going in my head? Why did I wait 5 years to and I spent 5 years wasted being mad at her when I should have been. See, the old saying goes that when you point a finger at somebody, there's four of them, two, three, four, well, three and a half, pointing back at you. Oh, I get it. You're perfect. You've never done anything wrong to somebody, right? Is that what's going on? We perfect. We don't know what's up. The truth is that because of you being selfish is the reason why you're in the place that you're in. You better forgive them people. Move on. If they don't, if you forgive somebody and you tell them, and if they don't accept it, guess what? The blood is off your hands. The blood is off your hands. We can no longer. We have to take our lives back. Hey, what's going on? We have to take our lives back. We have to say, I want my peace. Some of us are missing peace in this broadcast. Some of us are missing joy in this podcast. What's up, Richard? That's right. Exactly right, Dave. Forgiveness doesn't release them, it releases you. Forgive them. Move on. Your joy awaits. Your blessing awaits. Your peace awaits. There's somebody right now who has trouble sleeping because they're not peaceful. They don't sleep well. Up in the middle of the night, all that. They don't sleep well because I'm not at ease. Their peace is not all the way there. Their joy is dangling from a tree somewhere. They ain't went and go get it yet. Forgive those people. Move on. Stop with the craziness. It took me 15 years. And I don't expect for everything to end in this one broadcast, but I will tell you, I want to give you the tools. I want to give you those 2 words, 3 words that's going to set your life free. Not them, yours. I forgive you. I forgive you. Move on. Forgive them. Baby daddies, baby mamas, husbands, wives, whatever. Forgive them. Move on. Your joy awaits. Take control of your life. In the interim, find a higher power. Whatever that may be, I'm not gonna. I preach God. That's what I believe. But whatever you believe, but find a higher power. Because one thing that we can't do, you guys, and this is something that I learned in my church out here in Idaho, is that you cannot do life alone. Let me repeat that because somebody missed it. You cannot do life alone. You have to have someone in your life that is going in the same direction that you are going. You have to have someone in your life that is going to have your back. You got to have someone in your life that's going to be there unconditionally. If you have anyone in your circle who is not there for you unconditionally, it may be time to reevaluate life as it is. Because I'm 44. At this stage of my life, only people that are in my circle that want to run with me, that want to support me, that want to love me, are those ones are the ones that are allowed in my circle. Because I saw a meme somewhere on Facebook that had Nipsey Hussle on the cover, and it said, "If you are costing me my peace, you got to go. You costing too much." If you got people in your circle that's not really supporting you, if you got people in your circle that's not willing to say, "I'm a ride or die," you'll need them. Let me tell you this story real quick. And Courtney Field, I hope she's still here. But Courtney flew out for my wedding, Melissa's wedding, and she gave a speech at the reception. And she said, and she has supported me from day one. Couple of hills and valleys there, but still supported me, right? And at the end of her speech, she said, "You know what, y'all?" She looked at the crowd, she pointed at us, and she said, "This is right. This is right. I want a love like that. I want friends in my circle just like that." Now, if you don't have that kind of friend in your circle, it may be time to reevaluate. It may be time to reevaluate. I tell you, I love this show. I love this station, this network. Devontae and E Digger and Lee and all the guys, Ramon, that we're all part of the network. We are growing and we all support each other. Lisa was here. Lisa was in here earlier. She's actually on YouTube right now. I think Millennials Anonymous podcast. If you guys haven't, if you go on YouTube, go ahead and follow that podcast because she's hilarious. She really is hilarious, and we support each other. Dave Brown, who's in here. If you are a live streamer and if you want to take your live to the next level, you need to hook up with Dave. That's what we do. If you have people in your circle that's going to support you, you roll with them. You roll with them. Okay. So before I go, I'll run these commercials real quick. Hang tight.
I stay cooler than the Chi-Town breeze, but hyper like I'm at the World Cup overseas. Do rag for waves with me, gotta stay fresh. I never leave home without it like American Express. I'm feeling kinda old school, how about you? If you're feeling how I'm feeling, this is what you do. Throw it up, 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 throw it up. Hey, yeah.
Do you love eggs at 11 a.m., but you don't have nobody to take you to brunch? Well, guess what? I got news for you. Let's day drink and have bad table manners and wake up late, all while you watch Leaf and E-Bigger cut it up each week talking about hot, popular, trending topics you can watch on Facebook, on Charm City Direct TV, or the Young Black Panthers Network. It is premiering August 2nd at 11 a.m.
All right. So those are my commercials I have to run. I have to run those because we got to pay the bills around here. All right. And so I want to thank everyone that came through, supported, commented, threw a heart up. I didn't pull up my Periscope, so I'm sure if I pull up my Periscope, I'll see those hearts. But thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you for joining me on the Common Sense Show TV. I'll be back live same time tomorrow with some more informational topics, and we're going to get it cracking. All right. So you guys have a great rest of your Monday, and I will see you guys on tomorrow. Remember, at the Common Sense Show, forgive yourself, forgive those folks, and move on. What you got there, Richard? Hold on one second before we go. Richard wants to comment. The numbers simple with my circle. 16, great close, and my very close inner circle are mega supportive and defend me, and they are additional. I have 500 on my circle. That's good. That's good. Thanks, Ramon. Thanks, Ramon. You got some good insight as well, my brother. All right, so I'm out of here. I will see you guys on tomorrow. Have a great evening.